Time now for the KKMS Church of the Week.
You're the God of this city. You're the King of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are.
Hey, it's kind of exciting today because far in the east, we have a church and a denominational background that most of us don't know a lot about, and it's our KKMS Church of the Week. And to explain and introduce this really fascinating priest that we have with us and his church and denomination, I've got Gary Borgendale. So, Gary, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. It's great being in studio with you. And Proverbs 27:2 states, "Let another man praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips." And that's what we would like to do with pastors. They do an incredible work in our community, and we want to give honor to them. And joining us in studio this week is Father Tadeusz Barsagan. Did I get that? Did I get close?
Yes.
Okay, from St. Sahag Armenian Church in St. Paul. How am I doing here, Father?
You're doing great.
Very good.
It's good to be here.
Thank you for being
having me.
in studio with us, and just an insight that we first met Father Tadeusz on the clergy cruise last year. Good. And so it's an opportunity to have him here in studio with us. Paul.
Well, I think it's exciting, Father, because I don't know a lot about the Armenian Church, and I think a lot of our listeners do not know. So want to find out about that. And so what is the history of your church, and how long have you been at the church? But tell us the history of the Armenian Church, first of all.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's great to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you for all the good work that you're doing in our community, in Twin Cities community. Well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about Armenian Church, about history for Armenian Church. I won't go too far, but it's one of the ancient churches, Armenians and Armenian Church. And the other name of Armenian Orthodox Church is Armenian Apostolic Orthodox Church. And what that means is that two apostles of Christ, St. Thaddeus and St. Bartholomew, came to Armenia, and they preached Christianity in Armenia.
So, like two of the apostles then came to your country and preached it.
Yeah.
You know, we don't hear much about this, but that was Bartholomew.
St. Thaddeus and St. Bartholomew.
Okay.
They came to Armenia. They preached in Armenia. Unfortunately,
that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's why it is called Apostolic Church too, Orthodox Apostolic Church. So they spread the good news in Armenia, and that's how Christianity started in Armenia. But in 301, there was Armenian Catholicos, a first saint in the Armenian Church. He was ordained, and then he came to Armenia. He preached. He was, of course, tortured by the king at that time, and then he became the first one to accept Christianity in Armenia as a state religion. The king accepted Christian.
Okay.
He became Christian. He was baptized, and people
kind of like Constantine.
Yeah. So it became a state religion, the first state religion in the history of Christian church, and that's how Armenian Christianity started. And in the 5th century, there was a theological disagreement with part of the church, and Armenia became part of Oriental Orthodox churches, so-called. There are two branches of Orthodox churches. One is called Eastern Orthodox, Russians, Greeks, Serbians, Bulgarians, and there is Oriental Orthodox churches, Armenians, Copts, Syrians, Ethiopians, and those are two main Orthodox churches, and disagreement was on in the Council of Chalcedon. We don't want to go too far in that, but so there was a disagreement, and these two churches are main Orthodox churches, two church families, and Armenia is part of Oriental Orthodox churches. And until now, Christianity exists in Armenia. It went through a lot of difficulties during all the times with young Turks and Seljuks and Arabs and all kinds of, and then Soviet Union. But now Christianity in Armenia is flourishing, and we have many people following the good news in Armenia, and we have our Armenian community here too, in the Twin Cities.
How long, Father, has Saint Sahag been around in St. Paul? And tell us where you're located at.
Yeah, our church is located in St. Paul, in Marion Park, St. Paul. The church used to be Marion Park Presbyterian Church, the building. 10 years ago, Armenians in the Twin Cities community, they bought the church, and they converted the church into an Armenian church. They changed the sanctuary a little bit, and they made it an Armenian church. And Saint Sahag Armenian Church has been in Twin Cities probably more than 10 years. So it's not a it hasn't been a long time that we have an Armenian church here. It's been only 10 years compared to the community.
Now, you're a young man. How long have you been here as the pastor?
Well, I've been here as the pastor more than a year now.
Oh, okay.
I came November 1st.
Where did you come from? Where did you come from?
Originally, I'm from Armenia. I've been in the United States only 3 years. First in Chicago, I had my training and my internship, and then a year ago, I was assigned here by the bishop, and then I came and I served here with my family.
Well, that's exciting. Tell us a little bit about the membership of your church. Are you all Armenian? Is there non-Armenians in your church, or how does that work?
Well, it is a Christian church, so everybody is welcome to join our church. And we have Armenians, we have non-Armenians. Of course, the church is called Armenian Church, and and kind of the main focus of the church is to have Armenians, of course, to provide Armenian Christianity for those who had that practice, who had that tradition. But of course, everybody who feels welcome, who feels, it's their church, who feels connected to the spirituality of Armenian church, you're more than welcome to join us. And we do have many non-Armenian believers in our church. And our church sign says, all are welcome.
Now, Father, how did you come to Christ? And then how did you become pastor? When did the Lord call you into priesthood?
Well, it is a little bit long story. It started from my childhood, as many probably pastors. My mother had a lot of influence in my life in becoming a priest, become pastor. She took me to church first, to serve on the altar, Sunday school.
This is all in Armenia.
This is all in Armenia, and then I was serving all that time. And then when I graduated from high school, I didn't have any other choice. Didn't think of anything else. I just went to the seminary in Armenia, and graduated the seminary after 6 years, and became a deacon. And then made a choice to get married. We do have that opportunity, that choice in our church, and got married. And then I was called to serve the church and to become a priest, to become a pastor. It's been already, I think in July will be 5 years that I have been ordained as a priest.
Well, great. Now, talk a little bit about some of the things that the Armenians have faced over the years, especially in the massacres in the early 1900s or so. Tell us a little bit about that, to give us a little perspective of that part of your history.
Well, it is unfortunate part, a tragical part of our history, of course. Many people, I know everybody probably heard about Armenian genocide. Next year, we are going to commemorate 100th anniversary of Armenian genocide. It's been already 100 years that we faced that tragic in Armenian history. More than 1.5 million Armenians were killed in Western Armenia, which is now part of Turkey. It is Eastern Turkey. Of course, many influential leaders of the Armenian church were killed. Many writers, the leadership of people of community was just wiped out and killed. So it was really tough time for Armenian people and for us. And the most difficult part of that is that till now it's not largely recognized from an international community. And
why is that? Because I hear that all the time. Why is it not?
Well, there are many political reasons, and look, every time when it brought up here in the United States, the most common explanation is that, well, we are an ally with Turkey. We have a good relationship with them. It's not a good time. Every time it comes up, they say it's not a good time for.
Never a good time.
Why don't we come back to more of that? But tell us a little bit more about the church and. What kind of experience would a person have come to worship with you, I presume, on a Sunday morning?
Yes, we do have services every Sunday morning. We have liturgy every Sunday morning, and we provide communion every Sunday.
What time do you meet?
10:30.
And do you have it English or Armenian or Russian, or what language do you have your services in?
Well, mostly the liturgy is in Old Armenian. It's not
Old
even
Armenian. Okay.
modern Armenian. It is in Old Armenian, classical Armenian. The reason for that is why we keep this language is that, because of our history again, because they are so spread around the world, people. And if somebody comes to United States from France, from Australia, if somebody goes from Australia, from United States to Europe, they'll have the same experience. They have the same liturgy. So the liturgy is in Old Armenian, but the readings, Nicene Creed, sermon, confession, those parts are in English. And we do have Russian Armenians who were raised in Russia, in Azerbaijan. They speak primarily in Russian, so sometimes some part of the sermon is in Russian too. So we have Armenian and Russian and English.
So, Father, would you be more traditional service than a contemporary?
It is more traditional service. I would say so.
Very high church, I would say.
Oh, well, it's interesting we say very high church because we call Armenians, we call ourselves Heis.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Heis.
It means Armenian.
Oh, that's funny. Wait, Gary and I are learning a lot here. Hey, our church of the week is, that's a good line actually, is St. Sahag Armenian Church in St. Paul, and we're talking to Father Todd Arsajan. And Tadios.
You almost
I'm going to get it, almost. And Gary and I are learning Armenian in this interview. But I want to thank Father you being here. And it's been a blessing to have you as the Church of the Week. And God bless you and your congregation. And we'll be back on the way with Ridgeway.
Thank you.